There's a reason some people rise while others stay stuck. It's not luck, it's not fate, it's habits. Daily patterns that shape our destiny. The truth is, most people don't fail overnight. They fail slowly, one poor habit at a time. If you've ever felt like no matter how hard you work, you're not moving forward, this message is for you. Because today, we're breaking the chains of the 3 habits that keep you poor forever. Most people don't realize how much instant gratification is costing them. It feels harmless. Scrolling for a few minutes, buying something small you don't need, eating the extra dessert, skipping a workout because you'll start tomorrow. But those small choices are the roots of massive failure. Instant gratification is the silent thief of success. It promises happiness in the moment, but steals fulfillment in the long run. Every time you choose what feels good now over what's good for your future, you trade your potential for a temporary thrill. And the dangerous part, you often don't even notice it happening. Look around. We live in a world built for distraction. Everything is designed to give you quick pleasure. The swipe, the click, the notification, the sale. Society rewards the easy path. But here's the truth: comfort doesn't create growth, and pleasure doesn't create power. The people who win in life aren't the ones who do what feels good in the moment. They're the ones who do what's necessary, even when it's uncomfortable. The poor mindset says, I deserve this now. The rich mindset says, I'll earn it later. That single shift changes everything. When you chase instant gratification, you train your brain to avoid discipline. You condition yourself to expect reward without effort. That's why so many people feel stuck. They've built habits that sabotage them. You can't focus deeply because you're addicted to dopamine hits. You can't save money because every impulse feels justified. You can't build consistency because you only act when it's convenient. And every time you give in, your mind learns that quitting feels better than commitment. Over time, that becomes your default identity. Someone who starts fast but never finishes. Think about the moments that truly transformed your life. None of them came from taking the easy route. Growth is born from patience. Success is built on sacrifice. Every meaningful goal requires to say no 1,000 times before you can say yes to the life you want. You can't have wealth if you spend every dollar. You can't have strength if you skip every challenge. You can't have peace if you always choose the distraction that numbs your discomfort. The price of instant pleasure is long-term pain, but the reward of discipline is lasting freedom. When you choose discipline over desire, you rewrite your story. Instead of being controlled by your urges, you control them. You start to build momentum. You start to feel powerful again. Each time you delay gratification, you strengthen your will. You teach your brain that it's capable of more. The small wins start to compound. One more workout, one more dollar saved, one more hour focused. And soon what once felt difficult becomes your new normal. That's how real change happens, not in one massive leap, but in 1,000 small moments where you choose your future over your feelings. Instant gratification also kills gratitude. When you always want more, you stop appreciating what you already have. You start living in a cycle of not enough. Not enough money, not enough success, not enough time. But here's the paradox. The more you chase pleasure, the less satisfied you become. You fill your life with noise, and yet you feel empty inside. Lasting happiness doesn't come from indulgence, it comes from growth. It comes from knowing you're becoming someone stronger, wiser, more capable. When you delay gratification, you give yourself that gift. The joy of earning something instead of being handed it. Every successful person you admire mastered this one principle. They learned how to delay pleasure to pursue purpose. They understood that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. The poor stay poor because they keep feeding their impulses instead of their goals. They want the reward without the journey. But life doesn't work that way. If you want to live in abundance, you have to earn it through consistency, sacrifice, and vision. So ask yourself, where in your life are you trading your future for a moment of comfort? Is it that habit you keep saying you'll break? The money you keep wasting? The dreams you keep postponing? Be honest with yourself, because that honesty is the first step to freedom. Every time you say no to instant gratification, you say yes to your higher potential. You say yes to growth, to progress, to becoming unstoppable. You begin to live not for how you feel right now, but for who you're becoming tomorrow. Success isn't about being lucky. It's about being patient. The ones who rise are those who can delay gratification long enough to turn vision into reality. You can't control everything, but you can control your habits. And if you control your habits, you control your destiny. The world doesn't need another person chasing pleasure. It needs more people chasing greatness. So the next time you face that moment, that tiny decision between comfort and commitment, remember this: every choice is either building your empire or destroying it. Choose the one that feeds your future, not your moment. Taking responsibility is one of the hardest things a person can do, yet it's the single most powerful decision you can ever make. The truth is, most people spend their entire lives running from responsibility. They blame others for their pain, their failures, their lack of progress. They point to circumstances, bad luck, or unfair breaks as the reason they haven't achieved more. But the moment you decide that your life is yours, that everything in it, good or bad, is a reflection of your choices, everything changes. Responsibility isn't about guilt or shame. It's about ownership. It's about reclaiming your power. When you avoid responsibility, you hand over control. You become a passenger instead of the driver. You give your life's steering wheel to circumstances, and then you wonder why you feel lost. Blame is easy because it protects your ego. It allows you to feel right even when you're not growing. But responsibility demands humility. It requires you to look in the mirror and say, I created this. That statement can sting, but it's also liberating. Because if you created your current reality, you can create a better one. That's the truth most people never embrace. They want change without accountability, success without self-reflection, results without ownership. But that's not how transformation works. When you start taking responsibility, something powerful happens. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. Instead of saying, why did this happen to me? You begin to ask, what can I do about it? That question flips everything. It moves you from victim to victor. Life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you design. Responsibility doesn't mean you control every event, but it means you control your response to every event. You can't choose the weather, but you can choose your attitude. You can't change your past, but you can change what it means to you. That's where power lies, not in control over others, but in mastery over yourself. Avoiding responsibility also keeps you broke, not just financially, but mentally and emotionally. When you blame, you stop learning, you stop growing, you repeat the same mistakes, expecting different outcomes. But when you take ownership, you begin to see patterns. You start to recognize how your decisions, habits, and mindset shape your reality. You begin to learn from failure instead of running from it. The poor mindset sees failure as defeat, the rich mindset sees it as feedback. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow stronger. Every setback becomes a lesson that propels you forward. The truth is, taking responsibility is uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your excuses. It demands honesty about where you are and why. But that discomfort is the gateway to freedom. When you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, you realize you were the hero all along. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I will. You stop wishing for better circumstances and start creating them. You begin to move differently, think differently, and act differently because you finally understand that no one is coming to save you. It's up to you. Responsibility builds resilience. It teaches you to keep going even when things don't go your way. Life will test you. That's guaranteed. But if you've built the habit of taking ownership, you won't collapse under pressure. You'll adapt. You'll learn. You'll rise stronger. That's what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. The ones who rise don't waste time complaining about how unfair life is. They focus on what they can control, and they do something about it. People who avoid responsibility often live in cycles of frustration. They keep repeating the same situations, the same financial problems, the same toxic relationships, the same emotional struggles, because they never stop to ask, what's my part in this? The moment you ask that question, everything begins to shift. You move from helplessness to empowerment. You realize that while you can't change others, you can change yourself. And when you change yourself, your entire world starts to realign. The beauty of taking responsibility is that it puts you back in command of your destiny. It means no more excuses, no more waiting, no more blaming. It means you own your time, your choices, your emotions. You stop letting your past dictate your future. You start living with intention instead of reaction. That's when real freedom begins. Not the freedom of having no problems, but the freedom of knowing you have the power to face and overcome them. So, if you want to stop being poor in money, mindset, or spirit, start here. Take full responsibility for your life. Don't run from your mistakes. Don't defend your failures. Own them, learn from them, grow from them. Every time you choose ownership over excuses, you rise. Every time you take control instead of blame, you build strength. And when that becomes your way of life, no obstacle can hold you down for long. because a person who owns their life owns their future. And that's where true wealth begins. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you softly, convincing you that you've done enough, that you've earned a break, that tomorrow is a better day to start. But comfort is also one of the greatest traps that keeps people poor, stuck, and unfulfilled. It feels safe, but it silently kills your ambition. It lulls you into believing that stability equals success, when in truth, it's the death of growth. Nothing extraordinary ever happens in the comfort zone, yet most people spend their entire lives there, wondering why they never reach the life they dream of. The comfort zone gives you an illusion of control. You know what's predictable. You know what's coming. You repeat the same routines, hang around the same people, and make the same decisions every single day. It feels peaceful, but it's a false peace. Deep down, you know there's more for you. More potential, more power, more life. But fear keeps you anchored. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of uncertainty. The comfort zone is where dreams go to die, not because people lack talent or intelligence, but because they lack the courage to be uncomfortable long enough to grow. Every major breakthrough in life begins with discomfort. Growth is not supposed to feel good. The moment you start stretching yourself, mentally, emotionally, or physically, your brain screams for safety. That's natural. Your mind is wired to protect you from pain, not to help you evolve. But if you listen to that voice of fear, you'll stay exactly where you are. You'll keep repeating patterns that bring you the same results. If your life feels stuck, it's not because the world is unfair. It's because you've become too comfortable being average. Comfort is the slow poison of potential. The wealthy, the leaders, the visionaries, they all share one thing in common. They learn to find peace inside discomfort. They train themselves to take action even when it felt uncertain, scary, or inconvenient. They understood that the price of greatness is temporary pain. You can't grow muscles without tension. You can't build character without struggle. You can't create success without stepping into the unknown. Every time you choose comfort over courage, you delay your destiny. Every time you play it safe, you rob yourself of the strength that only challenge can build. The comfort zone doesn't just keep you financially poor, it keeps you emotionally and mentally weak. It breeds laziness, procrastination, and fear of failure. It convinces you that small progress is enough. It makes you settle for less when you were made for more. You stop dreaming big because you don't want to feel disappointed. You stop taking risks because you don't want to feel rejection. You stop trying because you don't want to feel pain. But avoiding pain doesn't protect you. It limits you. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Stepping out of your comfort zone doesn't mean recklessness. It means challenging yourself daily to do the things that make you uncomfortable. The conversation you've been avoiding, the project you've been postponing, the skill you've been too afraid to learn. Each step into discomfort rewires your mind. It teaches you resilience, adaptability, and confidence. The first few steps will always be hard. You'll question yourself, you'll doubt your ability, and you'll feel resistance. But if you stay consistent, that same discomfort eventually becomes your new normal. What once scared you will start to feel natural. That's how you evolve, by expanding what feels safe to you. People often wait for motivation to step out of their comfort zone, but that's the trap. Motivation doesn't come before action, it comes after. You move first, and then momentum follows. The moment you take that first uncomfortable step, you begin to build confidence. You begin to realize that the fear was only an illusion. The walls of your comfort zone exist only in your mind. Once you push through them, you see that life was never as dangerous as your fear made it seem. The truth is, life rewards those who are willing to be uncomfortable. Growth doesn't happen in stillness, it happens in motion. When you push yourself beyond what feels safe, you unlock levels of creativity, energy, and focus that you never knew existed. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop living in survival mode and start living in creation mode. That's when life begins to open up for you. New opportunities, new relationships, new strength. Everything you've ever wanted is waiting for you on the other side of your comfort zone. So ask yourself, what have you been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable? That thing, that one task, that one change, that one decision is the key to your next level. Don't run from it. Face it. Do it scared. Do it uncertain. Because every time you step into discomfort, you step closer to freedom. And every time you let fear hold you back, you give away a piece of your power. The poor mindset lives for comfort. The powerful mindset lives for growth. The more you stretch, the more you rise. Life isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to make you stronger. The moment you stop chasing comfort and start chasing growth, you'll begin to see what you're truly capable of. Greatness doesn't come to who wait in safety. It comes to those who dare to move forward, even when their knees are shaking. Embrace the discomfort. It's not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher.